The kingdom of my divine will in the midst of creatures. Book of Heaven, Volume 30, Part 7. January 30th, 1932. The divine will, spy, sentry, mother and queen. Its blowing breath forms in the soul the basin of love in order to enclose its truths. Ecstasy of love of the Creator, nourishments that he gives to his gifts. I was following the acts of the divine Fiat, and it seemed to me that in each of its acts that I followed, it prepared for me its blowing breath of love, which it contained within itself and longed to unleash from itself, to make it a prisoner inside my little soul. And I, feeling its love, from within its same love, unleashed my love toward the one who so much loved me, and I longed for its new blowing breath of love, to say to it, with more intense affection, I love you. It seemed to me that the desire of the divine will to be loved is so great that it itself places in the soul the dose of its love to make itself loved. And it waits for the love of the creature to be able to say to her, how happy I am that you love me. But while I was thinking of this, my adored Jesus, making his little visit, told me, my daughter, you must know that our love gives of the incredible. Our divine will is the spy of the creature, and it keeps spying to see when she is disposed to receive its blowing breath of contained love, because it knows that the creature does not possess a great quantity of divine love. She just has a particle of the infinite love from when she was created. And if it has not been nourished, it is like the fire when it is under the ashes, such that, while the fire exists, the ashes keep it covered and repressed, in a way that it cannot even make its heat felt. Human love we do not want, and therefore our divine will uses its loving stratagems. It spies on the dispositions, and it blows. Its blowing breath, like light breeze, puts to flight the ashes that the human will has produced. The particle of our infinite love is revived. It lights up. My divine volition continues to blow, and it adds more divine love. The soul feels herself being emptied, warmed. She experiences the coolings of love. And from within the particle of the infinite love that she possesses, she loves us, and she gives us as her own our divine love. You must know that the love of this divine will of mine is so great that it uses all the arts. It acts as a spy, and it blows its breath upon her. It acts as her mother, and it rocks her in its arms. It acts as her sentry, and it watches over her. It acts as her queen, and it dominates her. It acts as sun to her, and it illuminates her. And it offers itself even to serve her. And when it wants to deposit in you its knowledges, its truths, even just one of its words, what does it do? It blows its breath upon you so much that first it forms in you its basin of love, of light, in order to enclose its truths in the basin of its love and light that it formed in you. So it entrusts its truths to its own love, to its light, knowing that only its love can have true interest in keeping them, and in spurring you on, so that they may not remain hidden. Oh, if it wasn't for this, my basin of love, which encloses all the knowledges of my Fiat, how many things you would have buried in your soul, without anyone knowing anything. This is the reason why, before manifesting to you its truths, it acts as the all-doer around you, to prepare you, to place new love in you, to form the new basin for its truths, and put them in the safe bank of its divine love. And if I wait for you in your acts with so much love, these are our usual pretexts, the occasion we keep looking for, to find the comma, the dot of the creature, in order to give her new love, new graces, and even more so, because we want her company. Without the one who wants to do our will, we cannot be. Our will itself already brings her to us, in its arms, into our acts, so that she may be with us, and with everything we do. After this I continued my round in the acts of the divine will, and as I reached the point of the creation of man, I paused in order to watch, as spectator, with what love the divine Maker had created him. And my highest good Jesus added, "Little daughter of my will, to the little ones we feel drawn to tell our ineffable and infinite secrets. We want to tell our story. More so, since her origin is involved in it, so as to make her touch with her own hand with what love was her littleness loved, and loved again by us. In fact, she was present. She was already within us in the act of the creation of man. And this, in order to let her celebrate, and for us to celebrate together with her the solemn act of her creation. Now you must know that our Supreme Being, in the act of creating the creature, found itself in a sort of profound ecstasy. Our love enraptured our divine being. Our love enraptured us, and our Fiat placed itself in act of operating with its creative virtue. And it was in this ecstasy of love that we issued from ourselves all the graces, the gifts, the virtues, the beauties, the sanctities, and so forth, with which all creatures were to be endowed and enriched. Our love was not content, other than when it placed in order, outside of us, everything that was to serve all and each one, all the varieties of sanctities and specialties of beauties and gifts, so that each one might be the facsimile of her Creator. These endowments and riches are already at the disposal of all. So each creature, in being born, already has her endowment ready, which God, from the very moment man was created, issued from himself for each one. But how many do not know it, nor do they avail themselves of the rights that God gave them. And while they are rich, they live a poor life, and are so far away from true sanctity, as if they were not the beings who came out of that God thrice holy, who cannot make but holy, beautiful, and happy creatures, similar to himself. But the centuries shall not end, nor shall the last of days come, if everything we have issued in our ecstasy of love is not taken by the creatures. In fact, it can be said that extremely little has been taken of that plenty which we have placed at their disposal. But listen, good daughter, to another excess of our ardent love. In putting out of ourselves the endowments, the graces, the gifts, we did not detach them from us. Outside of us, yes, but inseparable from us, so that the creature, in taking our gifts, with our inseparability, might receive the continuous nourishment in order to nourish our gifts, our sanctity, our beauty, our graces. So, together with our gifts, we rendered the creature herself inseparable from us, because she does not have the necessary and holy nourishments with which to nourish our gifts. And we offer to give gifts and nourishments in order to nourish our sanctity, our celestial graces. So we are in continuous act of being together with her, to give her now the food to nourish our sanctity, now the food to nourish our strength, now the distinct food to nourish our beauty. In sum, we are around her, and always busy, giving the different nourishments to each gift we have given her. And this serves to preserve, to grow, and to crown our gifts. And the happy creature also is crowned with and in our own gifts. Therefore, to give a gift to the creature serves to bind us with her, not only to nourish it, but we give her, as pledge, our work, the inseparability, and our very life. In fact, if we want our likeness, we must give our life to be able to produce our likeness in her, and this we do gladly. Even more, our love repeats for us our ecstasy, and makes us give everything, so as to have us take the littleness of the creature, which is also ours, and which came out of us. From this you can comprehend what our cares are, our ecstasies of love, when we give not a gift, but our own will as life of the creature. To nourish our gifts is one thing, to nourish our will is another. By virtue of it, the creature already enraptures us continuously to herself, and we suffer continuous ecstasies of love. And in these ecstasies, We do nothing but pour out love in torrents, seas of light, indescribable graces. Nothing is given by measure, because we must not only nourish her, but we must keep her surrounded by cortege and honored with divine honors in the creature. Therefore, my daughter, be attentive, and let nothing human come out of you, so that you too may honor, with divine acts, my will in you. Fiat. February 6, 1932. One who lives in the divine will is raised by God with divine features and manners. The race in the Fiat. The acts done in it are placed on the eternal scale and enclosed in the divine bank. My abandonment in the divine volition continues. I always feel like the little atom that goes up and down, as though wandering in its acts, to find its life and mine in its acts. And my atom does not stop. It runs. It always runs, because I feel the extreme need to find the life in the Fiat. Otherwise, I feel I cannot live without its life. And without its acts, I feel I am on an empty stomach. And therefore I must run to find life and food. More so, since the divine will awaits me in its acts with an unspeakable love, to fix its food for its little daughter. But while my mind was wandering within its light, the sweet and sovereign celestial Jesus, making his little escape to his little daughter, told me, "Blessed daughter, how beautiful is your race in our will. And even though you are the little atom, we can raise you as we want. The little ones can be raised with our features, which resemble us. We teach our divine manners, our celestial science, in such a way that she forgets the rough manners and the ignorance of the human will. Those who are grown-ups are already formed, and we can redo little or nothing. And then they are used to living like grown-ups, according to the human will. And it takes miracles to destroy habits, if one manages at all. On the other hand, with the little ones it is easy for us, nor does it cost us much, because they have no radical habit, at most a few fleeting motions, such that one little word of ours, one breath of our light, is enough for her to remember it no more. Therefore be always little, if you want my divine will, acting as your true mother, to raise you, so that it may be all our glory, and also yours. Now, you must know that an act that is repeatedly renewed forms the habit, and since an act that never ceases is only of the Supreme Being, if the creature then feels herself in possession of an act that she always repeats, it means that God has enclosed his life, his manner, in that act. A continuous act is divine life and act, and only one who lives in my divine will can feel within herself the power, the virtue, the miraculous strength of an act that never ceases. because having been raised by us, it is not easy for her to depart from our manners, and not to feel within herself the life and the continuous acts of the one who has raised her. Here then you're running, feeling always the extreme need to find our life and yours in the Fiat, in its acts, and we running in you, to be present in our incessant acts. And while we run, you run with us, so that our acts that are in you may live common life with our acts that are outside of you. And just as you feel the extreme need, so do we feel the extreme need of love, to make your littleness go around in all the acts of our Fiat, so that, since you are unable to enclose them all within yourself, with your going around in them, you may take part in as many as you can. Therefore, run, always run. Even more, I tell you, let us always run, because there is no greater grace than I can give to the creature than letting her feel within herself the virtue of a continuous act. Then I continued to follow the acts of the divine will, and my beloved Jesus added, "My daughter, each time you form an act of yours in the act of my divine will, as many more bonds do you form in it, remaining confirmed as many times for as many acts as you do in the divine Fiat. And the divine will remains confirmed as many more times in you. And for each bond and confirmation that you form, my will expands its seas around you, and as confirmation, it places in it one of its truths, one of its knowledges as seal, and it manifests to you one more degree of value that my will contains. But do you know what these additional bonds, confirmations, truths, knowledges, values that you come to know do in your soul? They make the life of my will grow in you. Not only this, but by repeating your acts, they shall have as many more degrees of value, for as much more as you have known. Your acts are placed on the scale of the divine value, and they are worth for as much as you have known, and for as much value as has been communicated by us into your act. So your act of yesterday, as you repeat it today, does not have the same value as yesterday, but has acquired the new value which we have made known. Therefore, by the repetition of the acts, accompanied by new truths and knowledges, they acquire, day by day, new degrees, always increasing, of infinite value. Not only do we place the acts of the creature done in our will on our eternal scale, to give her the weight of an infinite value, but we preserve them in our divine bank, to give her 100 times as much. Therefore, every single time you repeat your acts, so many times do you come to put your little coins in our divine bank, and therefore you acquire as many more rights to receive from us. See, then, where the excess of our love reaches, such that we want to make ourselves debtors of the creature, receiving the little coins of her acts into our immense bank, for we possess so much. Yet we greatly love to receive the tiny little coins, to give her the right to receive of our own. Our love wants to interact with the creature at any cost. It wants to be in continuous relationship with her, and this by dint of giving, and maybe even of losing. How many times, while we want to give to her, we want to make known to her many beautiful things of ours. We want to make her feel how sweet and powerful our word is. And she shows herself cold, indifferent, if she does not turn her back to us at all. And our love remains as though defeated on the part of human ingratitude. But the little daughter will never do this, will she? Your littleness will make you feel the extreme need of your Jesus, of his love, and of his will. Fiat. February 10th, 1932. Work of God in the soul who lives in the divine will. Co-breathing between God and the creature. Look out of Jesus to have the company of the creature in his works. My sweet Jesus, with his enrapturing force, pulls me always into his adorable will, to let me cover the multiplicity of his works, which seem to be waiting for me, to give me something more than what they have given me. And I remain amazed at so much divine goodness and generosity. And beloved Jesus, to infuse in me greater love and desire to follow the acts of the divine will, told me, blessed daughter of my volition, each time you elevate yourself in it, to unite yourself to each act it has done, and to unite your act to its own, the divine act rises and gives you a degree of grace, of love, of sanctity, a degree of divine life and of glory. These degrees, united together, form the necessary substance to form the divine life in the creature. One forms the heartbeat, one the breath, one the word, one the eye, one the beauty, one the sanctity of God in the depth of the soul. As the creature approaches them, our acts rise to give what they possess. They anxiously wait for her in order to place themselves in attitude of rising, to form their divine outpourings, to deposit themselves, and repeat the acts in her. So, one who unites herself with the acts of our divine will gives us the occasion to let us work. But to do what? To form our life, with our work, in the creature. You must know that the creature, by elevating herself in our divine will, leaves everything and reduces herself to her nothingness. This nothing recognizes its creator, and the creator recognizes the nothing that came out to light, not the nothing cluttered with things that do not belong to him. No, and finding it nothing, he fills it with the all. Here is what it means to live in my will. To unclutter oneself of everything, and extra light, to fly into the womb of the Celestial Father, so that this nothing may receive the life of the one who created it. In addition to this, our will is our life and our food, and since we have no need of material foods, it gives us, then, the food of its holy works. And since the creature is one of our works, we want to find in her our will as life, so that not only herself, but all of her works may serve us as food, and we, in exchange, giving her the food of our works. This feeding ourselves with the same foods forms the co-breathing between God and the creature. This co-breathing produces peace, communication of goods, inseparability. It seems that the divine breath breathes in the creature, and that of the creature in God, uniting them so much as to feel as if the breath of one were one with the other. Here then come the co-breathings of will, co-breathing of love, of works. We feel that breath which we issued in the creation of man, and which he broke by doing his will, reborn again in the creature. Our will has the virtue and office of regenerating in him what he lost with sin, and of reordering him as he came out of our creative hands. After this, I was going around in the works of creation and redemption, and my sovereign Jesus added, "My daughter, our works suffer isolation if they are not recognized as works done for love of creatures." In fact, there was no other purpose in doing so many marvelous works in creation than to give them many attestations of love. We had no need. Everything was done with an intense love for them. Now, if this love of ours is not recognized in each created thing, our works remain alone, without cortege, without honors, and as though apart from the creatures. So the heavens, the sun, the other created things are alone. What I did in redemption, my works, my pains, my tears, and everything else are isolated. Now, who forms the company for our works? One who recognizes them, and going around within them, finds our love palpitating for her, longing for her company, in order to give and receive love. So much so, that when you go around in our will to find our works, and to recognize our love and place your own, I feel so drawn that I am almost always waiting for you in each work, to enjoy your company, your cortege, and I feel as though repaid for what I did and suffered. And when sometimes you delay your coming, I am waiting, and I put myself on the lookout from inside my works, to see when you are about to come, so as to enjoy your sweet company. Therefore be attentive. Do not make me wait. Fiat. You have reached the end of the Book of Heaven, Volume 30, Part 7. Fiat.